In the year 2150, Earth seemed peaceful. Technology had advanced beyond imagination. Cities were full of lights, flying cars moved across the skies, and humans had colonized the Moon and Mars. But deep beneath the surface, something dark was happening. An invisible enemy had silently infiltrated Earth. They were not invaders in the traditional sense. They did not send massive spaceships to attack or fire lasers from the sky. Instead, they were the ghosts, an alien race that had mastered the art of stealth and invisibility. The ghosts did not need an army. They were powerful in a way no one expected. Their main weapon was their ability to control machines and technology. With their advanced skills, they could hack into any device, any satellite, any military system on Earth. They had been attacking Earth for years, but no one had noticed. The ghosts infiltrated systems, turned weapons against humans, and twisted Earth's advanced technologies to serve their plans. A young hacker named Zoe Mitchell stumbled upon this truth one night while working on a personal project. Zoe was a skilled programmer who loved to tinker with machines. She was one of the best at decoding the most complicated systems. One evening, while testing a new AI program, she noticed something strange. A small error in the code. A glitch. It was nothing major, but Zoe's curiosity got the best of her. She dug deeper. As she uncovered more of the code, Zoe discovered that the glitch was not an accident, it was intentional. Someone, or something, had planted the glitch. She traced it back to a mysterious source, and that's when she made the shocking discovery: an alien race was controlling Earth's technology. They were using it to manipulate governments, military systems, and the very heart of human society. The ghosts were everywhere, and they were invisible. Zoe couldn't believe what she had found. She immediately contacted her best friend Josh, a tech expert who worked for a global security company. Together, they started investigating. Every time they thought they were close to finding the source, the trail would vanish. The ghosts had covered their tracks perfectly. But Zoe and Josh were determined. They knew that if they didn't stop the ghosts, the Earth would fall. The more they dug, the more they realized how deep the problem ran. The ghosts had manipulated everything from the smallest phone to the most powerful military satellites. They could control any machine on Earth. But why? What did they want? After weeks of research, Zoe and Josh finally found a hidden message in the code. The ghosts were not trying to conquer Earth in the traditional sense. They didn't need to attack with weapons or armies. They wanted control. They wanted to use humanity's own creations against them. By controlling Earth's technology, they could quietly take over the planet without anyone noticing. And the more technology advanced, the easier it became for the ghosts to remain hidden. But Zoe was determined to stop them. She knew that the one thing the ghosts couldn't control was human ingenuity. The ghosts might have mastered technology, but they didn't understand how humans thought. Humans could adapt, change, and think outside the box in ways the ghosts never could. Zoe and Josh came up with a plan. They needed to break the ghosts' control over Earth's technology, but they couldn't do it alone. They contacted a group of the world's best scientists, engineers, and military strategists. Together, they began developing a new kind of technology, one that the ghosts couldn't hack. It would be a system that used unpredictable human behavior, something that couldn't be controlled by an alien mind. The team worked day and night, creating special devices that could disrupt the ghosts' invisible control. They developed countermeasures to fight back against the hacking and planned a way to protect key locations around the world. Zoe and her team knew it wouldn't be easy. The ghosts were smart, and they would stop at nothing to keep their control over Earth's systems. But they also knew that if humans fought back with creativity, courage, and unity, they could win. The battle wasn't fought with guns or explosions. It was fought in the digital world, in the networks and systems that connected everything on Earth. Zoe and her team began to deploy their new technology, disrupting the ghosts' hold on key systems. As they did, strange things started happening. Military weapons that had been turned against humanity powered down. Satellites that had been spying on Earth citizens stopped transmitting. The ghosts' invisible grip was slipping, but the ghosts fought back. They tried to regain control, hacking into Earth's systems faster than humans could stop them. It became a race against time. Zoe, Josh, and their team fought hard, using every trick they knew to stay one step ahead of the ghosts. They knew that if the ghosts regained control, it would be the end for humanity. In the final battle, Zoe and her team managed to trap the ghosts in their own systems. The ghosts, despite their advanced technology, couldn't break free from the trap. It was a victory for humanity. The ghosts' silent invasion was over. Zoe's work didn't end there. She knew that Earth would always face new threats and that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to adapt. The ghosts may have been able to control technology, but they couldn't control human creativity. Zoe and her team had proven that no matter how silent or invisible an enemy might be, humanity would always find a way to fight back. Earth had always been a place of bustling cities, powerful governments, and endless technology. The people of Earth felt safe in their world, with technology connecting them, and their leaders making decisions that shaped the future. But deep beneath the surface, a secret war was unfolding, one that was invisible to the human eye. For years, a group of aliens, known as the Chameleons, had been quietly controlling the minds of Earth's most powerful figures. These aliens didn't need weapons or armies to invade. They didn't need to send massive ships to conquer Earth. All they needed was the power to manipulate thoughts and minds. They could control anyone, politicians, military leaders, even ordinary people, and make them do whatever they wanted. Captain Max Taylor, a highly respected officer in the Earth Defense Force, had always trusted his government and his leaders. He had served in wars and had seen the worst of humanity's battles, but he believed that Earth was safe from anything that could truly harm it. However, when he began to notice strange changes in the behavior of people around him, his world started to fall apart. One day, Max was called to a secret meeting with high-ranking officials. He was briefed on a new mission, but something felt off. The words of his commanding officer sounded robotic, almost rehearsed. The entire room felt strange, as if the people there weren't acting like themselves. Max could tell that something was wrong. Max, a man of action, decided to dig deeper. He began to investigate, talking to other soldiers and people in power. It didn't take long for him to discover the horrifying truth. The Chameleons, a race of aliens, had been using advanced technology to secretly control the minds of key leaders. These mind-controlled figures were making decisions that affected the entire planet. They were unaware that they were being controlled. The Chameleons didn't invade by force, they invaded by stealing human minds and influencing their actions. The more Max uncovered, the more disturbed he became. The Chameleons were not just trying to take over Earth, they had been doing it for years. They had embedded themselves into the most powerful positions on the planet, manipulating everything from global politics to military strategies. No one realized they were under attack because they were all being controlled. It was a war that no one could see and no one could fight. Max knew that he couldn't face this enemy alone. He needed help. He turned to his old friend, Dr. Olivia Rise, a scientist who specialized in mind control technology. Together, they worked tirelessly to uncover the Chameleons' methods and find a way to stop them. They discovered that the Chameleons had developed a device that could enter the human mind and take control. This device could be used on anyone no matter their intelligence or willpower. It was powerful, and it was nearly impossible to detect. But Max and Olivia weren't going to give up. They realized that the key to defeating the Chameleons wasn't just in technology, it was in human willpower. The Chameleons were powerful, but they could only control those who allowed themselves to be controlled. Humans had something that the Chameleons didn't: free will. Max believed that if people could learn to fight back against the alien influence, they could break free from their control. Max and Olivia created a plan to expose the Chameleons' secret and awaken the minds of those who had been controlled. They started by finding people who were not yet under the aliens' influence. They gathered a small group of rebels, each with unique skills and talents, and trained them to recognize the signs of mind control. They built a special device that could block the Chameleons' signals and help people regain their freedom. The group worked in secret, using their skills to infiltrate the most powerful areas of Earth's government and military. They had to be careful, as the Chameleons were always watching, always listening. Every step they took was dangerous, but they knew that if they failed, Earth would fall under alien control forever. As the group grew stronger, they began to awaken more and more people. They showed them how to fight back against the mind control. Some of the people who had been controlled for years could not remember who they were or what they had done. But with time, they began to regain their sense of self and fight back against the aliens' influence. The battle against the chameleons was not fought with guns or bombs. It was a battle for the human mind. As Max, Olivia, and their team worked to expose the aliens, they faced countless challenges. The chameleons grew desperate, using all their powers to stop the humans from waking others up. But the more people they freed, the more they realized the power of human unity. Together, humans could fight back against anything, even an invisible enemy controlling their minds. In the final showdown, Max and Olivia confronted the leader of the chameleons. It was a battle of wits, strategy, and strength of mind. The chameleon leader tried to control Max, but he had learned to resist. With Olivia's help, Max destroyed the alien device that allowed the chameleons to control minds, freeing Earth from their influence once and for all. The chameleons were defeated, but the battle had changed humanity forever. People learned that their greatest strength was not in their weapons, but in their ability to think for themselves. Earth was no longer vulnerable to invisible attacks. Humans had proven that no matter how powerful an enemy might be, nothing could break their will. In the year 2120, Earth was thriving. Technology had reached new heights, cities were booming, and humanity was expanding into space. But suddenly, everything changed. A strange and terrifying virus began to spread across the planet. It wasn't like any virus people had seen before. This virus didn't make people sick. It didn't cause coughing or fever. Instead, it made people afraid. The virus, known as the fear virus, attacked the mind. It spread quickly, turning ordinary fears into uncontrollable panic. People became terrified of everything of the dark, of the unknown, of even their own shadow. The virus amplified their worst nightmares, making them believe that the world was ending. Governments struggled to keep order, and chaos spread faster than the virus itself. Soon, entire cities were paralyzed with fear. Dr. Alice Walker, a brilliant scientist, was among the first to notice the strange behavior in her patients. As a leading expert in viral diseases, Alice had never seen anything like it. People weren't just scared, they were consumed by fear. It was as if the virus was feeding on their deepest anxieties. She quickly realized that this wasn't a natural virus. It was something else, something far more dangerous. Alice spent sleepless nights in her lab, working to understand the virus. She discovered that the fear virus was not a biological weapon, but an alien creation. The virus had been designed by an alien race known as the Dreadlings, who thrived on fear. They had released the virus to weaken humanity before launching a full-scale invasion. The more fear humans felt, the more powerful the virus became, spreading faster and affecting more people. The world was on the brink of collapse. Governments declared martial law, trying to contain the chaos, but nothing seemed to work. People couldn't think clearly, couldn't make decisions. They were too afraid. Dr. Walker knew that the world needed a solution, and fast. But she also knew that finding a cure for the fear virus would not be easy. Alice teamed up with a small group of scientists, military leaders, and ordinary people who were still unaffected by the virus. They formed a team to fight back against the Dreadlings and the fear virus. Alice's research pointed to a possible cure, but it required a special kind of antidote, a substance that could block the fear receptors in the brain. The only problem was that no one knew where to find the ingredients. As the virus spread, Alice and her team traveled to remote areas of the world in search of the rare plants and chemicals they needed. They faced danger at every turn. People, driven mad by the virus, attacked anyone they saw as a threat. But the team pushed forward, determined to save humanity. Along the way, they discovered something surprising. As more people were exposed to the fear virus, they began to notice that some humans, though afraid, were able to resist its effects. These brave individuals, who managed to stay calm in the face of terror, seemed to have a natural resistance to the virus. Alice and her team realized that this resistance was the key to defeating the virus. If they could find a way to boost this resistance in the rest of the population, they could break the virus's grip on Earth. With time running out, the team worked tirelessly to create a serum that would amplify this natural resistance. They tested the serum on small groups of unaffected people. After many trials and failures, they finally found the right combination. The serum worked. It didn't just stop the virus, it helped people fight back against their fear, returning their minds to clarity and reason. But there was one final obstacle. The Dreadlings were not just waiting idly by. They knew that humans were fighting back, and they were ready to unleash their full power. In a desperate move, the Dreadlings launched a massive attack on Earth, sending their ships to invade the planet. The fear virus was their weapon, and they planned to use it to break humanity's spirit once and for all. As the invasion began, Dr. Walker and her team began distributing the antidote to as many people as they could. They spread the serum across major cities, helping millions of people regain control over their fear. The Dreadlings were shocked. Their weapon, which had worked so well at weakening humanity, was now losing its power. People were standing tall, united, and ready to fight back. In a final stand, humanity fought against the alien invaders. People, once paralyzed by fear, now fought with courage. They used the power of their minds to resist the Dreadlings' attempts to control them. Dr. Walker's serum had worked, and humanity's greatest strength, its ability to fight against fear, was now their weapon. The battle was long and hard, but the humans never gave up. They managed to destroy the Dreadling ships and push the aliens back. The fear virus was finally defeated, and the world began to heal. People slowly returned to normal, but the lessons learned during the crisis would stay with them forever. Dr. Alice Walker stood in the ruins of the battle, watching as humanity began to rebuild. They had faced an enemy unlike any other, but they had prevailed. The fear virus had shown them the power of unity, the strength of the human spirit, and the ability to overcome even the darkest of fears. Though the battle was over, Dr. Walker knew one thing for sure: Earth was stronger than ever, and nothing, not even the greatest fear, could break them again. In the year 2000, Earth had reached a level of prosperity and technological advancement that seemed unbeatable. The world was connected like never before. People had access to incredible technology, space exploration had become routine, and Earth was a peaceful place. But one day, everything changed. An invisible enemy arrived, and humanity had no idea what was coming. It started in the quietest way imaginable. First, strange things began happening around the world. Satellites stopped working. Military systems went offline without warning. Technology that people relied on every day began to fail. Planes crashed in mid-flight, and communication satellites blinked out of existence. No one knew what was causing it, and no one could stop it. Major cities around the world went into panic. People started to question what was happening. Was it a cyber attack? A natural disaster? Something more sinister? Earth's top scientists scrambled to understand the mysterious force behind these events. What they discovered was more terrifying than they could have imagined. Humanity wasn't dealing with a virus, a rogue AI, or even an attack from another nation. The enemy was something far more dangerous. It was invisible. The enemy, known as the Shadow Force, was an alien race that had perfected the art of invisibility. They didn't need weapons or ships to invade Earth. They had mastered technology so advanced that they could manipulate electromagnetic fields, making them completely undetectable. They could walk through walls, disable electronics, and control the very systems that Earth depended on, all without ever being seen. Captain James Harrison, a seasoned military officer, was among the first to notice the strange patterns in the attacks. He had served in countless battles, but this was different. The Shadow Force didn't care about traditional warfare. They didn't need armies. They didn't need cities to conquer. Their goal was simple: to bring humanity to its knees by crippling its technology. James was part of a special task force created to stop the invisible enemy. His team of experts included scientists, engineers, and top soldiers, all working together to find a way to fight back. They spent days analyzing the patterns of the attacks, but every time they thought they were close to an answer, the Shadow Force would disappear without a trace. The task force's breakthrough came when they discovered something unexpected. The shadow force wasn't just disabling Earth's technology, they were drawing power from it. By manipulating energy sources and feeding off human-created systems, the aliens had found a way to grow stronger. The more technology Earth used, the more powerful the shadow force became. James and his team realized that to defeat the shadow force, they would need to turn the tables. Instead of relying on technology, they would have to find a way to fight without it. The only problem was that Earth had become so dependent on technology that it was nearly impossible to function without it. In the blink of an eye, the world had gone from being one of the most advanced civilizations in the universe to a planet on the brink of collapse. The team's plan was risky. They would need to develop new technology that could disrupt the shadow force's control. But there was no time to waste. Earth's infrastructure was crumbling, and humanity was losing hope. In the heart of the world's most advanced research facility, Dr. Sarah Lee, a brilliant scientist, worked day and night to create the device that would help fight the shadow force. Her team had discovered that the shadow force's invisibility wasn't perfect. The aliens could manipulate energy, but they could not shield themselves from the natural forces of the planet. If the team could create a device that would emit a burst of energy, it could disrupt the shadow force's manipulation of technology, making them visible to human eyes. As the world continued to fall apart, Dr. Lee's device was ready. James and his team set out to deploy it, traveling to strategic locations around the world to broadcast the energy burst. But there was a problem. The shadow force had anticipated this move. They had already infiltrated Earth's defense systems, and James knew that the aliens would be waiting for them. In a final showdown, James and his team faced the invisible enemy. As they activated the device, the world seemed to pause. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a loud hum, the device sent a powerful energy pulse into the atmosphere. Suddenly, the shadow force was no longer invisible. The aliens became visible to the human eye, their once invisible forms now shimmering with an eerie glow. The team fought with everything they had. The battle wasn't one of physical strength, but of intelligence and strategy. The shadow force had the advantage of invisibility, but now humans had the advantage of sight. The aliens were no longer hidden in the shadows. They could be seen, tracked, and fought. In a final, desperate attempt to escape, the shadow force retreated. The energy pulse had weakened them, and their control over Earth's technology was broken. James and his team had succeeded. The invisible enemy was no longer a threat. Earth had won. But the victory was bittersweet. The shadow force had proven that humanity's dependence on technology could be its greatest weakness. Though Earth had defeated the invisible enemy, James knew that the battle wasn't truly over. The world would have to rebuild, but this time they would be smarter, more aware of the dangers of over-relying on technology. As Captain James Harrison stood among the ruins of what was once a bustling city, he felt a sense of hope. Humanity had passed its ultimate test. The invisible enemy had come and gone, but the strength and resilience of Earth's people had shone through. The shadow force had learned that no matter how invisible or undetectable an enemy might be, Earth would always find a way to fight back.